And welcome to the final part of Little Nemo the Dream Master, where now we're in Nightmare Land and we just gotta take care of business here. Anyway, this is the Morning Star. You get to whack enemies and also you get to charge it up like the Mega Buster, which is good, because at least we finally have a means of attacking enemies. Even though we're not gonna be able to do that right now because we gotta get the lizard going. And the tricky part about this is there's a lot of very tough jumps that we have to make. And also, yeah, just this happens. So it's just stick and just make our way up. And all of Nightmare Land is actually divided into 3 sections. Where, this first section we just had to make it across a lot of fire and a lot of small enemies. Especially the ones I like to drop from off screen. Let's see, really all we're doing is in this first section is just trying to make tough jumps. The second section is definitely the worst part, but then in the third section we do have to take on the Nightmare King. But every section does have a boss, and this one's going to be the King Penguin. Which I don't really understand why there are 2 kings here, but, well, what are you going to do? And see, the thing with the penguin is he spawns in, or he drops in, and then sends his, these minion penguins after you. Let's see, it's important just to get some quick shots off and then spend the rest of your time avoiding everything else, because you don't really get a checkpoint until after you beat the penguin. And see, it's just easier to read and react, or just react to everything, rather than try and predict him, because I think it's random which way he goes, whether or not he goes to the left or right. And then sometimes you can sometimes you can guess right. And he's dead. Yeah, fortunately he's not too tough once you're able to use the Morning Star and take him out. And now it's this part. Let's see, first thing we gotta do is just take care of this gator, just because I kinda don't want him hanging around here. So let's see, we just gotta make some, yeah, there's a 1-up in case we need it, which we might with the way this stage is gonna go. But let's see, all we gotta do is make tricky jumps and avoid a lot of enemies. And especially because these bastards come back. So let's see, this first part we gotta take care of this with a lizard. And then for the next part we have to do the same thing with a frog. And that's gonna be the part that's gonna be really rough. Especially when we gotta avoid fire. Alright, there's 1, there's 2. So let's see, the way we gotta handle this is let's see, it's up then down. And then just carefully make it across here. Although I don't really understand this mechanic, like why they made you do the same thing as the lizard and the frog. But then again, that's just kind of the way they designed this level. Let's see, just gotta make our way across. And see, that is one section where you are gonna end up getting killed a lot if you're not careful. And I am kind of paranoid about over jumping that one and just hitting my head on the spikes. So yeah, that's just kind of the way that goes. And then there's this, where we've got to avoid these stupid things. Please tell me I didn't respawn them. Okay, good. And see, the way we're gonna handle this is just duck carefully and move quickly. And that was a lot closer than that needed to be, but well, we made it. Okay, where are you? Yeah, I was waiting for you. And that's the good thing about finally being able to attack these stupid enemies. You know what? I think I'm gonna keep you on. I also do love the music in this stage. Just because it does a good job of saying out that things are getting pretty desperate here. Which, of course, is not like there's a rampaging king out there trying to destroy good dreams for everyone or anything. But let's see, that is almost the end of Section 2. But we gotta fight this boss. And I do have to give the Capcom designers credit for their attention to detail, because in the movie, the Nightmare King did use a manta ray to attack Dreamland, or Slumberland. And I'm kind of getting my Kirby reference and Little Nemo reference mixed up. But they did, or the Nightmare King did use a manta ray to attack Slumberland and capture the king. Let's see, what he's gonna do is just do some shooting and then do some flying. And we also have to have some ridiculous dodging skills to make it across this thing, because he is way faster than us. And it's also just important to stay near the middle, just because it's really easy to get caught out of position against this guy. And also like going for big shots. Just because I think the big shots are a little bit more effective. And fortunately I made it through Section 2 somehow without dying. And that is a place that takes a lot of practice to make it through. And now for the final section of the game, and all we gotta do is just start with some tricky jumps here. Unfortunately, with this stage, if you do end up getting a game over on the second or third section, you have to do the whole thing over again. Which is kind of a bummer, but then again, that's just how these games were set up. So for this first part, let's see, I think I'm just going to reset my recording and I'll just see you guys soon. Alright, the reason I did that was just because the game was kind of slowing down on me, and I just didn't want to lose that footage. But I mean, that's just something that happens. And also it is really easy to just careen off off these platforms, because one of the problems with the Morning Star is that every time you shoot, you do end up getting pushed back a little bit, so it's really easy to get dropped into one of those pits. I mean, that is kind of a dick move on the designer's part, but then again, that's just kind of how that goes. Yeah, unfortunately, they decided to save all the most obnoxious enemies for last. And that includes those stupid bats that was so friendly with me in Nemo's house. Let's see, yeah, this part does require that you do a lot of problem solving in order to make it up here. So really all we gotta do is just get up here and then just take care of business with a mouse. So we can just make our way up. And for those of you wondering, the bee is not capable of flying this high. So yeah, that's just something to know. And then we gotta just to make these tricky jumps with the Nightmare King looming on in the distance. And as I've said before, he was a really scary dude in the movie. And the animators did a really good job with him too. So what we gotta do is just go through another one of these sections where we just gotta avoid spores. And the good news about this part is if you go over to the right, you can get some extra lives, so that's always good. So let's just go ahead and make it through here. And with that said, here we are at the end of the game. The Nightmare King actually does have a pretty simple pattern, and what we gotta do is just zap him a couple times, and then it's easier to get between his first and second lasers. And then also just go ahead and get your shots in once you take care of that red thing, because that red thing is going to home in on you. And it also doesn't go away until either it gets off screened or it hits you, one of those two. So it is really important to play defensively here, just because you do have to hit this guy a lot. Also, I forgot how the spell went in the movie. If somebody wants to write that in the comments, please go ahead. Oh, what we gotta do is just zap the hell out of this guy until he dies. Which is, of course, typical in the movie. I also love this final boss music. And then that's one thing this game did get right, definitely, was the music. Of course, since it was Capcom, nobody should be surprised. And with that said, he is dead, and that is the end of Little Nemo the Dream Master. And now the king is saved and everything's cool. And also, that is one thing the movie does well. It has some pretty good life lessons when it comes to, you know, the responsibility of leadership and being a prince and all that fun stuff. But either way, the movie itself, it did have some issues with the voice acting, the plot, and I don't know, I guess some of the writing, but then again, it was a movie for kids. Even though you wouldn't know that with how scary some of the characters are. Let's see, yeah, I think, in the movie, Nemo actually ends up dying from his, confrontation with a Nightmare King, but then they did something to, resurrect him. I forgot what it was, though. But then again, I haven't really seen it in that long. I mean, I did watch it a few years ago. It is still on YouTube, and it's still pretty enjoyable, whether or not you're a kid or an adult. And as I've said before, this is a game that's more for people who are kids at heart, and, you know, as Let's Players, that does fit most of us. Yes, it is also important to keep our promises, which is why I don't make very many of them. But then, fortunately, Nemo does get to visit, so that's always cool. I also do like this ending music. It does give you a sense of accomplishment, and also makes you feel good about what you did. Also, there is a stage select code in this game. I forgot how it goes exactly, but I'm sure it's something you can look up. I also love Nemo's face in that one part. But then again, considering this was 1905 New York, actually, I think that's kind of fitting for how many lights there are. And also, Nemo does stop having nightmares, so that's always good. Of course, fortunately, it isn't like today. Where, of course, Dream 9 would probably be Nemo's visit to the psychiatrist, and then Dream 10 would be Little Nemo on antipsychotics, and then you're alone in a white room and nothing happens. But then we get a nice little rendition scene of the house where, in the movie, Nemo ends up going to the circus. And then, you know, you get the house and everything's all cool. And yeah, that is Little Nemo the Dream Master. Pretty fun game, can be a bit frustrating at times. But also the atmosphere, the charm, and, you know, the music especially all make up for it. I mean, it is a Capcom game, so you know Capcom's good for those things. So let's see, up next I'm gonna finish Gex, and then I think I might take my chances with Super Adventure Island 2 for the Super NES after that. But first things first, I gotta take care of Gex. And see, unfortunately I did run into problems with recording it, so this was just something to do in the meantime. You know, just because I didn't want another like 2 months between videos like that, you know, it happened in Mega Man 7. So let's see, I might also throw in another weekend playthrough, because I do have another idea for a weekend playthrough, and it was going to be Felix the Cat. So I think I'm going to do just that. And if you, well, I do need things to talk about during Felix the Cat, so I might open it up for a Q&A, and, you know, we'll see how that goes. I don't know, I'll probably post that stuff on Brywheel in the Let's Play corner just to see, what their thoughts are. But yeah, that is a Little Nemo the Dream Master. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you soon with the Rusty Gex.